I'm bored. I'm actually going to be going to do something related to, I don't know, just bounce really, really high like I'm Superman or something? Maybe. I don't know. I just wish I have to. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Mickey Mouse here once again, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Kirby's Adventure for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So, last time we did manage to explore through World 3 and 4, which are both Butter Building and also Grape Garden. And today for this episode, folks, is the fact that we're going to be moving on to World 5, which is known as Yogurt Yard. See, Fernando, that we're actually on the halfway point of the game already. See, Fernando, that we've accomplished 4 worlds so far. See, Fernando, that will be, well, something related to that until when we get into later on. But anyways, here we go into Yogurt Yard itself. So, for Yogurt Yard, it's more accurately more focused as a mountain-themed world, but ultimately it's all likely mixed, which even then though can be ranging from the cloud environment, as you can tell in the first level in World 5, and at the same time we're gonna have to occasionally go into the water sections every once in a while. Well, not so much as often though, until when we get to the next world after this. But for now, let's go ahead and just go underneath here, because if you go underneath here, while avoiding those cannons actually, which, not only do you get yourselves the stone ability if you want to get the stone copy ability, like I do for right here, but also you get yourselves a extra 1-up too. So even then know that if you want able to get that desperately, then by all means you can do that. And I did not mean to get hit right there, thanks due to these little enemy placements and all that stuff, especially with the high jump enemies. So I think I might as well just able to actually not to, you know, be very cautious with those kinds of stuff. So if we go all the way down here, as you can see right there, we got ourselves our next secret switch. So even then though, that way we can able to play the Crane Fever game. But even then though, I'm not gonna play the Crane Fever game for quite some time for this point, because as you can tell, I've got myself 23 extra lives at this point. So even then though, because of that though, this game is really generous with extra lives, which even then though, I honestly give this game some credit for it. But even then though, until we get to the latest worlds in this game, even later levels as a result, it gets pretty difficult at the same time due to, you know, the same thing that happens from the original Kirby Dream Land on the Game Boy. They have to, like, you know, press the up directional pad up until you're able to fly higher enough. So even though that's the only thing I need to get used to with this. So anyway, level 2 in the forms of, you know, Yogurt Yard. You know, as you expect, there's going to be some water elements to the mix, which even then though, that could be pretty present here. What I don't get about this is, even though you can use your copy abilities when you're out of the water, but you can't use your copy abilities when you're underwater, so that makes it really unfair. But who knows to that for this point, folks, because it's pretty much an old school game as you expected it to. But anyway, we don't want to get ourselves our ball copy ability for this point, because I found that copy abilities to be the weakest copy abilities in the entirety of the Kirby franchise. Let's go into this door here. To able to actually go ahead and just get ourselves our spark ability right there, so that we can able to actually just defend ourselves from enemy contact. But you know, you get the idea with this point, folks. I don't know if there's actually a way we can get an extra 1-up from the get-go, because I just have no idea how do I get to that, because of how the fact that it's been a long while since actually coming back to this game in particular, rather. So even then, there's going to be plenty of times when some situations like this happens, then I need to actually just again gooms with it though. So anyway, yeah, so there are quite a few things I want to point things out for this point, folks. First off is that, well, obviously today was actually forms of the 25th of January, and quite a few things has been happening through not just films, but also Nintendo related to Internet too. First off is that tomorrow, after this video is about to be releasing, is that the new Ornament Studios film called Early Man will about to be released tomorrow, so even then I'm really looking forward to that. And because I was a huge fan of the stop motion based films like, you know, Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, and even Shaun the Sheep the movie, even though despite the fact that in Shaun the Sheep the movie was pretty much just grunting and you know, some noises they make. All at the same time, yeah, that's what I can usually come across. So anyways, let's go ahead and just... Oh, shoot! Even despite the fact that I've got one last piece of health, but I died right over there. Assuming there's actually the doors over there, so that's just plain unfair right there. Or maybe because I accidentally just did the hammer attack really damn early, so... And before you actually enter this level, end of a level right there, there's actually a 1-up right there. This might be really tricky to actually get to that 1-up because you need to be exactly at the right time until you're able to fly, so just in case you don't want to die instantly, so... Yeah, that's all I can really think about it. So anyway, as far as I didn't already mention about this for this point, folks, is that, apparently, with the gold minigame you're actually going to be coming across into, there's going to be a rare chance that I've seemed to notice that I've heard from the internet, they did manage to come across into a 31-up chance, which even then, I don't know what this will actually accomplish that, because I haven't usually encountered that for myself, you know. Because of that, though, it's quite easily the rarest, reward you can get. But yeah, that's just all I can say. So, yeah, level 2 doesn't have the secret switch in here, but even then though, in level 3, in Yorkwood Yard, also doesn't have the secret switch, which even then, that, if it does, then we have to just go ahead and fetch one and find one, so... And there goes my high jump ability, but that's okay, because I can just simply replace that into wheel. So that way I can able to do the fastest thing alive, hell yeah! So hopefully I can manage to able to run through enemies as soon as I possibly can, and hopefully eventually I might as well just able to... Can you get over there? Thank you. I know it's been... Oh god, I almost got hit by spikes there. Anyway though, So, there's another thing I'd like to point out for this point, is that, oh, speaking of Early Man, for that new, film is about to be released tomorrow in UK, whilst in the United States of America has to wait until next month. Apparently though, RottenTomatoes.com, or in this case Rotten Tomatoes, website, did surprisingly give their film a really positive reviews, like 93%, and I was like, cool, I can live with that. Oh yeah, you have to be very quick on that 1-up right there, because unlike the Maximum Tomato right there, it does contain this little platforms that you can be perfectly safe on. The 1-up item can be described as bottomless pits there, so even then though that you don't able to dive down straight away with the rock. And this is where the paracel comes into play with this section right there, if you have an easier time with this part. At least if you know what you're doing, because you can simply just bypass through those spikes, it doesn't matter if you manage to get hit with one of those things. Unless if the paracel can really help you a lot. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish the level off. If I can just get down here, there we go. And let's see what reward I can get. Nope, still got 2. But even then, no, still 5,000 or so points. Conveniently enough, we almost got to 500,000 points kind of thing about it. But even then, wait till you see it until when we get to the latest levels and onwards. So, I'm gonna have to discard my paracel item from now on. Yeah, you can actually do that in the hub worlds here and there too. So even then, now if you want to get yourselves a copy ability replacement, then you can do it anytime, whatever you wanted to. I'm not gonna say that much until now. So, here we go into level 5. Oh, actually, it's level 4, actually, in Yorkwood Yard. I kept on thinking of later on, though. But anyway, if I recall correctly, this level might contain a switch in here. But even then, I'll need to definitely figure this out, though, until whenever I deal with this part first. Oh yeah, as far as I'm aware, is that it actually contains a switch in there, so... Let's go ahead and deal with these guys once again, but this time in a cavern area, so... Nothing too groundbreaking for this point and onwards, to be honest, because even then, we have to do the exact same thing over and over and over again. But hey, at least it's something. Alright, so let's go ahead and just, you know, deal with all these last few, minion slaves and all that stuff. You don't get any copy abilities if you manage to swallow those guys up, so even that's one pointing things out right now. Avoid that ball ability right there, because it seems rather useless, because, you know, you can't able to attack enemies with it. Which is a major shame. And I believe the secret, in this case the secret switch, is going to be located. I'm assuming it's going to be the, you know this little mini, hole alcove that normally waterfalls usually comes in? Well, this is it. And if you enter in, not only does it actually gives us the small room alcove that not only gives us a maximum tomato right there, but also the 1-up. Which we can simply just suck in the 1-up right there, and I did not meant to do that, because even then though, that sometimes, if I want to get my sword copy ability back, it's really impossible to actually get that back quickly, because you need to actually be fast and quick. If you spend on that particular section for too long, then you can just simply able to do this without it, but that's how it is for me. So anyways, we got ourselves a, you know, the Switch active, so that way we can able to play through, you know, the quick draw minigame. I really get the feeling I won't able to do that anytime soon either, because, as you can tell, I've got 26 lives now, so even though that, you know, it's so damn easy to get extra lives in this game. Oh god, oh gosh, thank you. Thank god I did survive for that last drop. Even for when there's enemies crowded on me, but at least it usually happens to me sometimes. Alrighty then, I've got number 1, so give me my 1-up. I know there's actually a rare chance you can able to get yourselves 30 extra lives instead of 1, but even then, that again is easily the rarest thing you can able to encounter. Level 5, I believe this level also contains a secret switch, and it's actually at the very beginning of the level actually. If you go ahead and go down here, and try to fly all the way to this door over here, this way you would have made it. But the thing is though, is that you need to do a combination of these copy abilities, you need to do it twice in a row. And yeah, I've accidentally failed on that part, so let's try that again. Because yeah, the thing is about this switch we need to actually get is the fact that we need to light up the cannon first, and you need to be really fast and be very, act out really fast, as I think I established that before, and just hop onto the cannon and... What?! Okay, that did not happen to me on purpose. I think I was a little bit too slow on that part, or maybe I accidentally pressed the jump button by complete accident. Oh, jeez, I'm such a fool. Yeah, that was a really bad start, because I meant to jump higher and then able to actually swallow up the high jump copy ability enemy. Sometimes this secret can take a little bit more practice to deal with here, because, you need to deal with pretty much a perfect timing when it comes to controls, and especially noticeable with the, you know, discarding out the copy abilities if you don't want it to. Oh, actually, kind of think about it though, that, I totally made a mistake for all that, secrets I pointed out, is that in the, Yogurt Yard 4, if you manage to activate the switch, it will actually lead you to a quick match with, or in this case, the arena, whilst this is basically, it just takes you to the quick draw, so I was thinking of something else, mainly level 5. So, that was totally my fault there, folks, I do apologize for that. So, we're gonna take our Warp Star with us, and we'll zip past through those trees. So, yeah, that was kind of swell. Alright, so let's go enter this castle right there. So, I really get a feeling that, I'm actually going to be taking myself, oh, we got ourselves a combination, roulette. Because, yeah, what this happens is the fact that, we can actually able to actually inhale, 2 enemies at the same time. If you do that, then you would able to actually activate the copy ability roulette. And in this way, you can able to choose, whatever copy abilities you want to choose. So even though it's kind of randomized, but if you want to actually get yourselves the, mandatory copy ability, especially in secrets comes into play, you have to be sure you need to able to, time your, button press if you're master done with the roulette itself. So, that makes it a little bit more, you know, again, mandatory in order to able to actually activate it for that. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm having struggling with this part right for that, because even then, I was trying to demonstrate of how this, technique do. But again, in order to actually activate the roulette, or in this case, the copy ability roulette, skill, you need to be right on with the actual inhaling move, when you're trying to suck up these 2 enemies all in one go. And if you do that successfully, then you would able to actually, hopefully, God forbid, trying to get the copy ability you want. So, that's pretty cool for that little system as far as you might go. Unfortunately, it does remove that in the forms of how the fact that during the later Kirby games. The only noticeable exception is the forms of Kirby 64, because in Kirby 64, well, we'll get into more on that game until in the next couple of months, or in this case, couple of days' time. But for now, let's go ahead and enter this particular arena match against with Bonkers within blue variation, because, no noticeable difference between the normal counterpart of Bonkers instead of the blue counterpart is the fact that the blue one itself moves way faster than the normal counterpart. So even then, though, that makes it pretty much you know, understandable with this little, different variations of the exact same mid-bosses themselves, so, yeah. Okay, quicker right there, I have to quickly fetch something, mainly my drink, because doing commentary can get a little bit more tiring at times, even especially noticeable when my throat is getting a little bit more jinxed up at one point, so anyway. Yogurt Yard Dash 6, where we're gonna have to basically, this is the reason why we got ourselves our hammer to begin with, because of how the fact that, yet again, much like level 1 and especially level 4 and 5, this level also contains a secret switch, but in order to actually get the secret switch in this level is that we need a hammer for this world, because obviously if we don't have one of the hammers, we'll have to simply have to backtrack from the other levels of knowing for. So, if we get to this area right there, and then able to actually, God forbid, not to get hit by these too much enemies all the goddamn time, and then enter this door here, and you probably notice that we can't do anything once you don't have the hammer ability, but if you do, you have yourselves a good chance to able to block through, or break through, not only the star blocks, but also these green solid blocks. So that way, the hammer deals that for you. And not to mention it gives you a switch, but also it gives you an extra one up. So, that's pretty sweet. Seriously, I really love how this game is very generous with lives like this. Even especially noticeable that it's really easy to actually grind them. Especially in some of these mini games you'll spend, you get yourself some spare time with it. Sorry for the lack of, dialogue, it's going really jumbled up mess, but I digress. I can't believe these levels are super short, kind of thing about it though, still. And we got ourselves our next boss coming up, which, speaking of such, let's see what this next boss fight offers. Which, fundamentally, it's the forms of, well, I can't remember what this boss is actually known, but I'm trying to look this up until now. But even then, it appears to be more accurately, we're gonna be doing with this boss with auto-scrolling parts now, so even then know that if you fall behind from the constant screen scrolling, there's a plenty chance you can die from bottomless pit, or even especially noticeable with screen crunch. So, I believe this boss is known as Heavy Mole, which, from the looks of it though, because we're actually going to be battle against with him in underground. So even then, while at the same time able to avoid the bottomless pit as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, we get the idea what this little system will go, and yeah, that's what I can really comfort from. So yeah, you guys can clearly tell what's going on for this throughout on screen. So. But to me though, that, oh wow, got hit, and also killed him at the same time too, that's kind of amusing. So yeah, for some reason the dirt itself is all in green instead of brown. I think it's probably due to the limitations of the NES graphical standpoint itself. So anyway, here we go folks, on to World 6, which is known as Orange Ocean. So, I mean, let's recap on those little letters real quickly. V from the first world, and I for the second world, and also B from World 3, and G from World 4, and especially noticeable with Y from World 5, and then now we're actually on O in World 6. That could be very familiar, especially with the borders they actually got with all these different color variations of these little level title cards, which that could be a hint when we get to the very end of World 6. So, World 6, in this case, is noticeable in Orange Ocean. This world is entirely... Oh, that was totally my fault. I shouldn't have done that too early. Anyway, in this particular world, this world has a tons of secrets we're gonna have to find. Like... I died twice in this section already, so even then I'm feeling incredibly idiot right now. Anyway though, as I was saying, and even then this might be a third time as a charm at this point. There we go, hopefully I might as well get a hammer for this, because I really need a hammer. Although there's also another method you can do. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's also another method you can do with this particular switch I was about to be getting until right about now. And even then though, let's go ahead and just suck those two up, and hopefully we can get ourselves a hammer. Bingo! So yes, if we grab the hammer and hit back onto this door over here, make sure the enemies don't respawn, and then they come towards that area. Now normally with the hammer, you can simply just break through those little, not only star blocks, but also those donut lift platforms, since Super Mario Bros. 3. And that way you should be able to actually get yourselves a switch. There's also another method you can do, but I found it kind of a little bit awkward to deal with. There's actually a mini boss you can do from the very beginning of the level, which if you manage to deal out with this little turtle-based enemy, and then in order to actually get yourselves a, I would say backdrop ability, which, that way you can able to actually suck up these blocks to deal with. But it's kind of awkward to do, because you need to, I believe you have to deal with the aiming skills you have to deal with when it comes to adjusting your, aiming skills with this little, donut lift blocks, because unlike Super Mario Bros. 3, is that if you stand on one of those donut lift, platforms, those will simply crumble down in Super Mario Bros. 3. If you stand on one of them, then, like, for long also, like, a couple of seconds, that's what I meant to say. But in this game, they have to destroy it instead of, like, just standing on top of it for a long period of time. So even though, that's the only thing is, you know, a little bit fair in comparison, though, but, Alright, so that's level 1 done, and now we move on to level 2, so... But again, as I mentioned earlier, that Orange Ocean is going to be most accurately more focused on secrets, so... There's going to be a lot of those switches we have to find for this point, folks, because if we do miss one, then we do need to have to backtrack for this point, so anyway... if we go over here, and enter this little alcove, not only you get ourselves a 1-up, but also stone. Stone is requirement to able to get ourselves the next secret switch right over there, because... Oh, God, no! Ah, there goes my stone ability. Thanks a lot, you stupid little puffy explosion enemies. That's what I'm gonna call them at this point. Yeah, but unfortunately, though, that with this stone ability, though, that, you can actually ground pound this little, wooden stump that you can able to actually access to the new area. And that was a really cheap move by Waddle Doos with the parasol. Hey, let's try that again. This is where the game starts getting really difficult at this point, especially with cheap enemy placements here and there every once in a while. Especially they keep on respawning instantly. Because even then though, they're always trying to able to actually throw you off guard if you ever play through any other old school games like this. Even especially noticeable with the Mega Man games, and even especially noticeable with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from for the NES. It knows if you're actually accessing the emulator, because unfortunately though, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did accidentally removed in the Wii Shop channel now, which even then I felt incredibly like sorry for that. But anyway though, I have no idea where I'm going right there, but for some reason, oh yeah, that's where I meant to go. Because that way I don't want to get hit by these too much enemies all the goddamn time right there, even especially with those little, stupid little, exploding enemies right here. And hopefully, oh god, I'm gonna die again, aren't I? I was really hoping not, because even then, if I die again, then I will be not very happy about it. Okay, come on, avoid that, there we go. And that was pretty dumb right there. Cheap enemy placement right over there, with this Waddle Doo over there, just blocking my procession. So yeah, Orange Ocean is a bit like, you know, Float Islands from the likes of Kirby's Dream Land 1, and at the same time, Ice Cream Island from this game, because of, the only noticeable difference this time, as you can tell, is that this world is actually influenced in sunsets, so that makes it pretty obvious to see if how this world is actually called Orange Ocean, so yeah, that's what I can tell. Alright, before we hit into the next level, which is level 3 right there, that's gonna be takes place in the pirate ship, I'll meet you guys back on the secret, switch in level 2. So even then, hopefully I might as well keep my stone abilities as I can, so I'll meet you guys back. Hey. You know how much, attempts I have to deal with this particular section right there? The hardest part about this particular, secret switch sometimes is that you need to do it with no damage run, because if you manage to get hit by enemies with the copy ability you've equipped, you're not gonna get it, because even then though, especially noticeable with these, Waddle Doos or Waddle Dees with parasols, you know, stuff like that. They're always trying to get into me, because even then though, they always bypass that little, platform, which even then though, that can really throw me off. But there we go, folks. We got ourselves our secret switch right over there. And let's get out of here by the forms of... You can also do another ability you can able to do this faster, that I haven't mentioned about this during the last video, is that... you can actually pause the game, and then once you complete the level first, and then able to select exit the stage, and that way you should able to actually get back into the hub world easier. So, Well, that's one thing I haven't pointed out for this particular point of the game, so I do apologize for this little shorter amount of delay for actually discussing on that particular system. But anyways. Alright, so here we go with, you know, Orange Ocean number 3, that this entire level takes place in the actual watership. So even then, though, that kind of reminds me of almost related to a Donkey Kong Country 2 vibe. That one of the very first level in that game was actually forms that we're going to be traversing for those, pirate ships. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyways, let's go ahead and just use the hammer to break for that block over there, as you can see right there. Until we're able to actually come across into the secret alcove, and we need to activate the bomb block over there. Until we're able to actually get ourselves our secrets going on here, mainly the switch, because, you know, Orange Ocean is going to be most focusing on switches. So, you know, you get the idea what this little system goes. Let's go ahead and enter here, and discard out the hammer ability, because we need to grab the laser, but unfortunately I was a bit too late, because I somehow accidentally ate the maximum tomato, and also at the same time I just let that particular enemy guard away. So I need to be very quick. There we go. That's more like it. And able to go back into this little alcove over there. And get into this little door over there. And this is the reason why we need to use a laser to begin with, because of this. You know how the fact that originally that fire will do the job, but no, because the fire flamethrower won't do a thing any further, because laser can actually also count as lighting up the actual cannon, so even then, do worth credits due. Especially noticeable that the laser did manage to reflect this little metal objects, which I found was really awesome too. So anyways, yeah, because this section right there always reminds me like I was playing Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest for the Super Nintendo, / Game Boy Advance version, if depends on what version you'll be playing. Then, you know, it plays exactly the same as between these two versions right there, but except with, sound differences here and there, because, you know, Game Boy Advance is basically just a handheld console, and the Super Nintendo is basically just a home console, so that makes an obvious difference, as well as the graphical limitations and all that stuff, especially with extra content on the Game Boy Advance version as opposed to in the Super Nintendo counterpart. But you know. And there we go. Got my 1-up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 28 lives I've got because, you know, if your life's count is reached to 0, you still only have 1 chance left. Which, you know, kind of like how it does in the 3D Mario games. Well, at least the only exception is being like, I would say Super Mario 3D World, but I could assume this might be more the Delta 4 anyway. So, before you hit into level 4, I'm going to have to grind my extra lives because, you know, I continuously dying for the likes of, not to mention on the first level in Orange Ocean, but also due to how the fact that I kept on getting certain trial and errors in the forms of getting that damn secret switch in level 2. But even then, when I deal with all that misery I'll have to deal with, that's not so much misery because of how the fact that these enemies kept on respawning every time we defeat them. I can't get that one, so screw it. Oh well, no big deal. At least I've got 2 lives back after that certain amount of deaths I had. I should probably mention about this right off the get-go for this point, folks. Recently, that Nintendo of Japan already established that from the forms of, I believe, during last night, if I've heard of that news correctly. Unfortunately though, one of the Nintendo application games on the iPhone devices, especially Android devices too, unfortunately there's a game called Mi Tumo, which is basically somewhat similar to how it does it in the Mi Plaza, but with smartphones. Unfortunately, that could be no longer going to be in there forever until when it gets to the point until the May this year, which even then, to be more specifically, 9th of May, because even then, much like Miiverse from the Nintendo Wii U and Nintendo 3DS, although I have to admit though, is that the Miiverse did manage to survive for about 5 years, which I must admit that I was really impressed about this little application, but sadly it's no longer there due to so many strangers actually constantly putting up these rude messages, even especially with those rude pranks or in the most disgusting images. But even now, that's as far as I can tell. And what I was gonna say, excuse me, sorry about that, so I've got something in my throat. Anyway though, in level 4 as you can see right there, this level also contains a secret switch, and it's pretty easy to find because if you go over there, and enter this little alcove, and boom, there you go. That's not that hard, it's not that complicated to find either, so even then that makes it a little bit more... Well, at least if you know the experts out there, you should probably know what this secret is all about. But anyway, let's go ahead and climb up to the ladders. It doesn't matter that we can do that, because we can just simply just fly upwards, though, kind of think about it. But anyway, and that was kind of cheap right there. I do have to admit though right away. And, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I always hate these enemies. Especially noticeable that if you do not get off on the ground just in time, chances are there's some pretty instant moments where you're gonna be getting exploding a lot. Even especially noticeable that you will lose your copy ability so easily like this. Which that tends to really bugs me too. Which even then though, that can get a little bit more atrocious at one point or another. But anyway, for the Mi Turmo, which is basically the first ever Nintendo application app on the iPhone/Android devices. Unfortunately, that won't survive until, you know, in this year's May, in the 9th specifically, because of how the fact that, well, it will survive until 2 years, which I'm really gonna have to give that game a credit for, but unfortunately it will be too late for me now, because I've noticed something on the Nintendo official website. The service will shut down until when it gets to the May the 9th. And also you won't have the ability to able to collect the My Nintendo coins from able to actually accomplish those awards, I don't think. And that was really awful for that attempt right there. Because I just can't really tell for that little pattern right there. Even those bombs can really throw me off at one point. Well, let's just say until when Sonic managed to tackle through NES Remix 2, because I'm sure enough this is one of those challenges where you have to deal with all of those eggs catching, so yeah, that makes it a little bit more of a difficult challenges we have to accomplish with. So anyways, here we go with Orange Ocean level 5, is that we're going to be taking place in the snow. Which, kind of thing about it though, that we haven't got ourselves a snow level in the actual Kirby game for the... we actually got the very first snow level in the Kirby game for the very first time, where before, Shiver Star from Kirby 64, and also for the likes of, the snowy environments from Kirby's Adventure Wii, or Kirby's Return to Dreamland, but even then, I don't know what the actual world is called now, because it has been a long time since I actually played that game. For almost ever since, like, when I first managed to got that game back in Christmas 2011. Which, kind of thing about it though, that game is now 7 years old at this point. I was like, oh my god. I can't believe how that game is gonna be really, really old. Among the same lines as Super Mario 3D Land, and especially noticeable with Mario Sports Mix, Kirby's Epic Yarn, and also Super Monkey Ball 3D, and especially the 3DS system itself. And basically that's all I can gather for that point, people. Anyways, this level also contains yet another secret switch, but much like how it does it in level 5 in Yokkard Yard, is that you need to activate the cannon, and you need to be fast and quick about it, because if you don't make it in nick of time, then you're gonna have to, like, I guess assuming you only have, like, one attempt to do it, unlike in any other cannon segments like this part right there. Because of that, though, if you made up one simple mistake on that section, then chances are, kiss your, switch goodbye. So even then, though, that won't able to actually just, you know, make it a little bit more trickier to actually get the switch active, so that's what I can come across. Hooray, I got my another extra life, which now leaves us to 31 as it says on screen, but ultimately 32, because again, I've already established for that 0 lives count, to still counts as 1 life left. So anyways, here we go with, Orange Ocean level 6, where we're going back into the snowy environment, but we need to get ourselves a, the UFO copy ability, because of there's gonna be the next secret, switch we're gonna have to grab. If we grab the UFO quickly and head back to the previous section right there, and plus we need to be very careful right there, because we don't want to get hit by enemies, because if we get hit by enemies, especially there's a bottomless pit down there, we'll suffer from knockback. Imagine if you get hit by the enemy, that can get really irritating. But we need to build our charge shuttle over there until we bust for those little solid blocks. And if you accomplish that, then you actually get yourselves the last switch active in Yokkard Yard. So there you go. And that pretty much does it for the 100% completion of the Orange Ocean, I should say. Sorry about that. I just kept on thinking of something almost exactly feels a bit complicated around here, but that's how it is for me. So anyway though, I just realized about something is that if you manage to grab your UFO transformation, the music somehow changes every time you actually transform into a UFO, which I found really awesome actually. And that was really stupid right there, because that enemy did really throw me off. Anyway, I think the reason why the fact that the Tomo is about to be closing service down when it gets to the 9th of May this year, I think this is probably due to how the fact that no one even actually touched that game ever since when it first came out. I think that's why I'm gonna get the feeling of this, but I think it's most likely between Fire Emblem Heroes, and especially notable with Super Mario Run, and even the most recent Nintendo application games that's ever been released because of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, is now going to be taken over from the forms of the greatest Nintendo games on the iPhone devices at this point in time. Which, I'm assuming this is something related to that actually, so even then, although I may be wrong about that, let me know in the comments below to see if what's the description for it though. But anyway though, another thing we'd like to point out though is the fact that there is actually one thing that I need to point out. You remember where Sonic usually says before in the forms of how the fact that during the extra video of Sonic Forces Let's Play, that he said of how the fact that then during the likes of the 23rd of January, that players needs to force to pay money to able to actually get ourselves the Supersonic DLC. It turns out he was completely wrong, because no matter what happens, if that happens back during the likes of, oh no. We got ourselves the worst copy ability in Kirby's Adventure. Here we have the ball. What this does, if you jump in midair, or in this case if you jump, depends on how much height you can get, you can just simply do a mini bounce. So, screw that power up, and plus you can't able to attack enemies with it too. So, here we go with Hyper Mode, so that's pretty sweet. Actually kind of thinking about it though, that before I actually get into this next boss in this game, is the fact that I need to able to regenerated my health, because as you can tell I've got one unit of health left. But even then, I'll try my best to actually just not to get hit by this section right there. I believe this might be the final time we're going to be dealing with these enemies right there, because we'll come across into this very familiar foe once we're able to finish up with Orange Ocean. So even then though, that we'll definitely expect it to be encountered with. So anyway, yeah, Sonic was totally wrong about how the fact that for his Let's Play of Sonic Forces is that, well, turns out that Sega did actually realize of how the fact that they felt incredibly sorry for those of you actually did get really annoyed when you're able to actually try to be forced to pay for Supersonic DLC, well, in forms of just only £2 and stuff like that. But even then though, that they finally realized they have to rechange that. But in forms of Supersonic is for free, but now forever. So even then I was like, oh sweet. But even then though, there's no guarantee I'm not gonna get any Xbox One though, kind of thinking about it in my opinion folks, because, well, first off, iPhone's incredibly chunky for the most part for me though, and plus it's getting really expensive, kind of think about it too. Ah, that was my fault, I got first foul. Hey. Well, good thing for this particular minigame though, after that, I will actually regenerate my health, so even though that's a pretty good thing. And plus, I might as well try my best to get my extra 1-up, but I don't know exactly for sure really though, because between level 4, which is Bonkers, and especially with level 5, King Dedede, these two opponents are easily the toughest, because you need to be really fast and quick, and especially with this instances right there. Fine, I'll take 5,000 points, game. I'll take 5,000 points, even though it's entirely optional to me. Alright, so here we go, folks. Onwards to the next boss in Kirby's Adventure. And before I continue with this sense of tradition, as you can tell, that the Warp Star Station is almost filled up. So yeah, let's go ahead and enter this boss now. And it looks like we got, right from the get-go, we got our sword copy ability from the start. So here we go, folks, onto this next boss in this game. This guy is actually known as, if we record it onto this little website, or in this case, a research on stuff, this guy is actually known as Meta Knight. which is more accurately a character that he actually got himself his sword blade for the majority of this particular franchise. So, he might be really tough in areas, especially noticeable that he's going really too fast and go all over the place. Especially you need to keep an eye on with his attacks, especially with the jab stab. And even then though, that it takes a bit of some practice if you know what you're doing, but hey, at least until when we get to the future games, it's that it actually features a block button, so, oh wow, I managed to survive with all that. What on earth is that? Is it like a doppelganger clone of Kirby, or in this case a black version of Kirby? I don't know. We'll figure it out more on details on him until we get to later on, but for now, we're pretty much done with Orange Ocean, so there you go, 6 worlds has been accomplished. And there we go with World 7, or Level 7 I should say, Rainbow Resort. So we have R. So with all this letters in combined, with V, I, B, G, Y, and O, and even R, those little beginning letters based on those words they actually described as, these are these codes based on the colors of the rainbow. Like, take Rainbow Resort for example, that the R represents red, orange represents orange, and Yorkid Yard represents yellow, Grape Garden represents green, Butter Building represents blue, Ice Cream Island based off from indigo, and finally Vegetable Valley is actually in forms of violets. So 7 colors means represents the rainbow. So yeah, that's how I describe about this code. So, I'm going to have to end things off here for this point, folks, so tune me next time on Let's Play Kirby's Adventure is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the 7th world in this game, Rainbow Resort. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.